Welcome back, FBC Church family. The summer is coming to a close for our students. But even though school was out this summer, the youth were hard at work taking mission trips both here in the U.S. and overseas. And we're thrilled to have with us two of our very best and brightest, Hunter Smith and Lenore Blank, to talk about their mission trip experiences and what the Lord is doing in their lives and of the youth of our church.
Back in the summer of 2008, my family moved from Florida to Virginia, and with that came the need to look for churches. And so we decided to try this church on 221, this little church called Forest Baptist Church. We really liked the message, and my dad really loved that there was an NASB Bible in the seat in front of him. He loved the NASB, and that was really the selling point. So we decided to try the church, and we started to like it. And that meant that I had to join the youth group. Now, at the time, the youth group was downstairs where the Word of Life ministry is now, and I remember meeting the youth pastor at the time, Pastor Jamie McClanahan, and before I knew it, I was involved in the Forest Baptist Church youth group. I ended up being in that youth group for my entire high school career until I graduated in 2012, and then when I was in college, I ended up becoming a youth leader for that youth group, and I'm thankful to say that all these years later, I get to come back and podcast with the very youth of that same youth group that I was a part of. And one of the things that I was able to do in my time was go on World Changers trips. In fact, I was on the first ever World Changers trip, and I'm thankful to say that I have Lenore Blank and Hunter Smith with me. They have been taking trips this summer to Puerto Rico, which is awesome. We're doing international now. We weren't doing that back in the day when I was doing it, and it's really cool to see the youth so traveled and doing these trips. And I'm so excited that they're here to talk about their World Changers experience all these years later, where we're still taking that trip. That's so cool to me. And also internationally to Puerto Rico. So Hunter and Lenore, I'm going to start off with a trivia question for you. Where was that first World Changers trip that I took in 2009? Where was that trip?
Not Chattanooga.
It's not Chattanooga.
Or New Jersey.
It's not New Jersey.
Is it in North Carolina?
It's not North Carolina. Think big city.
Oh.
New York?
No, a little bit smaller, but not really.
Atlanta?
A little bit more to your west.
Denver.
A little bit more to your east. Think pizza.
Chicago.
Buildings. Yes, Chicago.
Really?
Chicago was the first ever World Changers
That's a long
trip
drive.
in 2009, and your boy was on that trip. And so this year we went to Kentucky, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Where exactly in Kentucky?
Henderson, Kentucky.
Okay, so you went on that trip, Lenore.
Right.
And
Yes.
Hunter, you went to Puerto Rico as well as Lenore. So you guys have been well traveled this summer.
Right.
All right, so we'll start a little bit with you, Lenore, and World Changers. We've done World Changers for years. Tell us a little bit about Kentucky. For those of us who have never been to Kentucky, how would you describe Kentucky?
It was really hot.
Oh, really?
It was really humid and hot. It was hard work. My crew worked on a house. We cleaned the house, pressure washed the house, painted a chain link fence.
Mm-hmm.
That was new. We just put paint on top of the chain link fence because that's what the homeowner wanted.
As far as the crew, what kind of group did you have, and how would you describe the group that went?
It was 35 of us from the youth group.
Oh, wow.
So really big.
Those are a lot bigger than the groups we had.
Yeah, probably our biggest group, mostly middle school. So it was a lot of fun with all the middle schoolers. Lots of energy, lots of noise.
Let it be known that's the first time a senior's ever said it was a lot of fun with a bunch of middle schoolers. It's very kind of you. Did your brother go?
Yeah, Andrew
Okay,
went, and
okay.
Mom went too. So.
Oh, so you had a mom and a brother,
Yeah.
the trifecta.
Yeah.
How is it having siblings and parents on a mission
I
trip?
like having them around, especially Andrew. I was on a crew with him. So
Okay.
we worked together and stuff. And that was a lot of
that's
fun.
Cool. Yeah.
We get along most of the time. So that was a lot of fun. And I like having Mom around too. It's nice to have her to complain to and to laugh with and stuff.
I know World Changers lends to unique conversations and things like that. So were you able to have any unique conversations with homeowners and, maybe with other crews or anything like that?
Kind of. Our homeowner would come out and sit on the porch and talk to us.
Okay.
And we think she was a Christian, but we weren't really able to get deep with her. But we were able to just talk about her mom and the work we were doing in the community and stuff.
Now, one of the reasons actually where this podcast started from, if you remember, last year we talked about, where did you go last year? It was Alabama, right?
It was Alabama.
I was on that trip.
You were on that trip. And that's actually where this spawned from, was I decided, hey, I want to hear more about what actually happened. And so we actually last summer talked about those mission trips with Puerto Rico as well. And that never came out. I have a funny story about Hunter from last year's World Changers on that one. You'll have to ask him about that. What's the difference year to year for World Changer trips? Do they change drastically? Do they all have like their own fingerprint, or are they all more or less feel the same for you?
They mostly feel the same at this point. It just really depends on the group. Like the older I've gotten, the younger the group, the kids have gotten. Not much. I mean, where we go changes each year, so it's always fun to go different places and see different parts of the country and stuff.
Yeah. So you're going into your senior year. What year are you guys?
I just graduated back in May.
So you're done.
I'm done.
I'm going to be a senior this.
So you have one more year.
Yep.
So you guys are, and I know Hunter, for you going to Puerto Rico with your group. Do you have a name for you, Matt Nowaki and Austin Ellis?
I don't have a name for us, but we've had so many names.
The Church Chads or something in Puerto Rico.
The Church Chads?
That was a name given to us by some of the other people at the camp. But we don't have a name.
Okay.
It's just as my buddies that I've been friends with for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of the clock's running out on youth group, and you'll be on to other things.
Yeah.
I know you've already started college in some way.
Yeah, I took classes last semester.
The transition is coming. I mean, how do you feel as you think about your youth time coming to an end? I mean, how does that feel?
It's kind of sad moving on, but I'm excited for college and to start new things and meet new people. It's kind of sad because like I found like my core friendships and group this year. I feel like close to them and everything, but I'm excited for college and to meet new people and new experiences and stuff.
I'd agree. I've gotten so close with these guys that I've been friends with at church. I've known Matthew and Emily since I was born. I mean, those people were in the nursery with me, and I've known them and been friends with them for my entire life. So it's going to be weird when Matthew leaves in a couple weeks and Emily goes to college and I'm still going to be at church because I'm a year younger than them. So it'll be weird to have to create those new friendships where I've always had these friends that, I mean, for the last 10 years that they've been my rock that I've gone to every single week. Sunday and Wednesday, those were the guys that I talked to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be weird.
Now, is Puerto Rico your final trip?
Yeah.
With the youth? I mean, now that it's done.
It's all of our final trips, like all of us seniors.
Wow. That's got to be strange.
It was hard, I think, coming home for all of us, just to be like, we're done.
So what trip sticks out the most of all the trips, retreats, all those different things? Does one become your favorite?
Probably my first in-states World Changers, my first Puerto Rico, and then this Puerto Rico trip. They just all were super special.
Okay.
I would say none of them stick out to me as much as this most recent Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's hard to remember all the past ones because of how much fun that they've been. Yeah. But this last Puerto Rico felt like the perfect combination of the people that were there and the people that we were able to meet and the community that we were able to serve in Puerto Rico. It was just everybody that I've been friends with was on that trip, and it was just an awesome time to kick back and really spend a week together. Yeah. It was a great trip.
I have to agree with him. Like, it was a super sweet time with all of our church friends.
So what does your time there look like? Because like we think Puerto Rico, I mean, some people think beaches, some people think about the housing projects, but what does the week actually entail?
Early mornings and late nights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, every morning would start around 5 o'clock when everybody you would
in the
hear
morning.
Yeah.
There's a 5 in the morning.
Breakfast wasn't until 6,
Yeah.
but some people would get up at 5 for no reason and wake everybody else up.
And when you're staying in a cabin of 32 guys that all decide to set their independent alarms.
Oh.
For no reason.
5 o'clock rolls around and you have no choice but to get up and get at it.
Yeah, you really can't avoid that.
Yeah, so then we would eat breakfast around 6:30, and we'd head out to our work site, and we'd spend the day at the work site and get as much done as we can, and then head back to camp around 4. And then at 4, it's kind of the chill time when you get back, you take a shower, go swim in the ocean, and then we would have dinner and head off to worship service around 7 o'clock. And then you don't get done with worship service until around 9. And then we would do group devotions every single night.
And this is always my favorite part of the day, like the church debrief time with the youth group.
Yeah, debriefing with everybody from the church, able to hear about everybody's day, and kind of caps off the night. And by then it's around 10:30 or 11, and you're waking up to do it all again in the morning.
Now, I did not realize that Puerto Rico, there's other churches there as well.
Yeah, there are 4 other churches.
Okay. Does it feel like World Changers? Because I know the World Changers thing is that there's all these different churches kind of all sort of avalanching on one place to help all these things.
It feels like a smaller World Changers where there's about only 80 people, and so you get closer to people and you get to meet more people, I think, than like normal World Changers. Mm-hmm. But it does make like the sleeping situation sort of tight, and
yes,
the shower situation a little bit iffy sometimes.
Yeah.
I think we shared 4 showers with 32 guys, and then 2 showers decided to stop working in the middle of the week. So
yeah, 16 per.
Yeah, there's a long line for the showers, and it's not very refreshing.
So where are you staying?
In a camp called Camp Caribe, which is right on the Caribbean.
Okay.
So you have the dorms kind of, and then there's like a pavilion porch thing that we like to hang up our hammocks and chill in that, and then like a basketball court and the cafeteria.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of my favorite places ever.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It's the best.
It's beautiful.
What about for Kentucky? Because I know sometimes it's schools, sometimes
Kentucky,
it's churches.
we were in a church, which was small. We were even more cramped in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because our church, like, we took so many girls.
So this might seem like a strange question, so I'll preface it by saying every year I went on a missions trip in youth, someone didn't shower the whole week. Was that a problem? Was there that person that wouldn't shower? Because I tell you, every year I went on a church trip with other churches, there was one person that didn't shower the whole week.
I don't know. I can't speak for the girls, but that guy's cabin by the end of the week reeks. It smells so unbelievably bad that you can barely sleep.
Is it still an Axe body spray thing? Is it still the Axe body spray
odor.
is shower in a can?
It's the smell of Axe being overpowered by BO.
Which is way worse.
And smelly socks. And
I think everyone showered from the girls' side, but our cabin stunk too.
So do you come home and throw those clothes out, or do you just run them through the
throw
wash
it
5
all
or
to the
6
basement
times?
and wash it the next day?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure your mom was happy with all the laundry that came back. Well, both of you actually.
dump the suitcase in the yard on the way in and pressure wash it.
So World Changers was big. You said 35, a lot of middle schoolers kind of cutting their teeth, but Puerto Rico's smaller, correct? It's
right. It was 15 of the youth and leaders.
And I imagine it's an older group.
Right. It's only high school.
Okay. And you're in Puerto Rico for an entire week?
Right. So we have a 5-day work day. We get there on Saturday, and then we leave the next Saturday. And our travel days are 2 days. Like, we take 2 days to travel. And we also get a half day on Wednesday. And then we only work Wednesday morning, and then we have the afternoon free.
Oh, nice.
So Reed took us to a waterfall.
Oh, that's
Wednesday
awesome.
afternoon, and we went swimming in the waterfall and climbing on rocks and stuff.
Okay. Now, Hunter, I know there was some mustache going on in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I feel like it's only fitting that we grow out our mustaches for a boys' trip.
Of course. Yeah. So who had the best mustache? Who won the...
I feel like for my age, I have the best mustache.
Okay.
I don't want to sound conceited in any way, but I do feel like that's very true. Reed had grown his out too.
But Reed's an adult.
Yeah, he has a few years on me. But Reed said when he got back that Maeve wasn't having any of it.
That's right. He got rid of that real quick.
Yeah.
There's also the mullet, and there was another
That's
kid
right. He's working on the mullet mustache combo.
It's a deadly combo.
It is.
from another church who had a mullet, and it was like not as good. Like Hunter's mullet was much better, much more filled in.
Now, I do know as well that there's shenanigans that goes on these trips.
No.
No laughing.
So, Lenore, you're responsible for World Changers shenanigans, and Hunter, you're responsible for Puerto Rico shenanigans. I know you got something.
Not dropping names, but the older boys in Kentucky definitely all like found girlfriends by the end of the week.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Camp Love. That's absolutely a thing.
Crush of the week.
Kind of impressive.
There's just something about girls from other churches. There's some magical spell when it comes to that. That's been a universal World Changers rules. In fact, the encouragrams. Do you want to explain encouragrams?
They're just encouraging notes we can write.
And they have them on the wall,
Yeah,
and you
you
can
have-
stick them in other people's.
Each have an envelope. Everybody has an envelope, and you can.
It would be kind of like sticking a note in another person's locker.
Right.
And then they would go and look at it. So there was a lot of. I actually got a girl's number through an encouragram way back in the day.
That's
I don't remember
impressive.
what her name was. It
Apparently
does
didn't
happen.
last.
So all the guys acquired girlfriends.
But like they had like multiple girls.
Oh, wow.
Follow, like I would look up and one would walk by.
Was it just
then,
a
like,
bad guy to girl ratio, or?
Yeah, I think it was mostly girls on their cruise. But like I'd look up and one guy would walk by and then like 4 of the girls would follow them and be like, "What is happening?"
Well, it's a good week for. Do they still
good week
have
for
any
them.
of these girls? It's been
I
a couple
don't know,
of weeks.
and I don't really care. You can ask Hunter that question.
It's usually a very low ratio of people that make the world changes.
Long
But
distance does not work in this.
I'm hopeful that
context.
there will. I hope to live in a world where there is a World Changers marriage that we see, where one guy meets a girl on World Changers and they get married, and I look forward to that day. It is coming. All right, Hunter. What about Puerto Rico?
So at the beginning of the week, of course, as I said, we each have our cows, the crush of the week. And
Do you call them cows though?
Yes.
well,
Call them
To their
cows.
face? It's probably not a good strat. Okay.
just a name. We get set up on our.
It was Emily's term initially. She was the one who like
So a
started
girl came up with
using
the
it.
term. That's helpful.
So at the beginning of the week, we're set up with a couple of members from each church that goes there. There's maybe 8 churches that go there. So we break up into these crews with 2-3 people from each church. And so I'm set up with Matthew from our church. And then we see these 3 girls walk over from another church, and we're like, oh man, we hit the jackpot. And so on our way to meet with our crew, we're thinking, okay, I'm going to take the blonde one, you're going to take the redhead.
You got to have a game plan, Lenore.
Yeah.
Just remember, there's always a game plan.
Yeah. We find out the first day that the blonde one has a boyfriend.
Okay.
So that's shut down.
Yeah.
So then it's open seas on the redhead. So we're going to battle this out like real men.
Yeah.
He got the redhead. I ended up getting thrown to the curb. On, I believe, the last day on our work site on Friday, we were finishing up our work, and we were all just so excited because we were done our work site. We were going to go home. We were finally going to be able to rest. And so I believe I threw a screw to the redhead that my buddy Matthew had successfully, I guess you would say, she became the cow, in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
And so we were working, and then I threw a screw to her, and
You threw a screw to her?
yeah. So I don't know what. I don't remember.
You were expecting her to catch it.
It all happened so fast. But I was sitting up on this scaffolding, and she's down below, and so I throw the screw to her, and as soon as I throw it, she looks up with her mouth open, and it hits her right in the tooth. And I mean, you just hear the sound of like somebody flicking metal siding, and it's rough. It's rough. And so then she immediately puts her hands over her mouth and sprints to the other side of the church. And so while we're waiting to see if she had actually broken her tooth, I send my buddy Matthew over there, and I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure I just like broke every tooth in her mouth. You probably ought to go over there and check on her. And so he goes over there, and he comes back, and he says, thanks, dude. I cannot appreciate enough. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I just helped her through it, and I consoled her. I think she's better now. And I was like, well, did I chip her tooth? And he was like, oh yeah, it's bad. And so I chipped my best friend's cow of the week,
Yeah.
crush of the week,
Yeah.
tooth. Crazy enough, her 2 friends that were on our crew also had chipped teeth.
So you just
Yeah, so I added her
even
to
the playing
club.
field.
On top of all that, this girl, the redhead, she was somebody, when you would look at her and she would smile at you, you would think she would be a Colgate representative, like somebody that would
she was
advertise for
beautiful.
Crest. Yeah, she had perfect teeth.
She had
Not
perfect
anymore.
teeth.
Yes,
And
yes,
then you ruined
yes,
it.
had perfect teeth.
Wait, how do you be around her the rest of the week?
Well, fortunately, it was the last day, so I
So
really
you just chipped her tooth, see ya,
Yep.
and went back to Virginia.
chipped her tooth and hit the plane.
Let Matthew comfort her and never see her again.
Yeah.
See, Lenore, that's the alley-oop. That's where one guy is the bad guy, takes the fall, so the other guy can step
The
in and be
best
the
friend-
hero.
best
The
friend
wingman.
looks
That's right. That's
absolutely
a
incredible.
next
Yeah.
level play right there.
Yeah, it was all
You
strategic.
can't even, yeah.
I feel that it always stinks when flirtatious playfulness goes wrong and bad things happen.
You wind up with a
Yeah.
broken tooth.
Yeah. Oh man. Did you ever find out like what happened when she got home?
Apparently she got it fixed right away. And
Really?
I was like, hopefully I don't get a check in the mail or don't get a bill for it. But
I'd still be looking for it just in case if she asks you what your Venmo is.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
man.
It was unfortunate. I mean, I felt so bad.
Listen,
That's
these
definitely
trips
the worst
breed that
feeling.
stuff. I'm telling you, there's always something like that you
Something that
can't
happens.
make up.
I always I always pray at the beginning of the week. It's not me that makes the colossal mistake, but
this trip it was you.
Yeah,
The good news is next time it won't be. I promise. Someone else will step up and fill that role beautifully. And you still have a couple more trips to do, so you'll have time
for sure.
to have someone else take the fall for you.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is we have obviously it's almost move up time. Lenore, you'll be moving out. More people will be moving in. So for upcoming 6th graders, what would you give them as advice for coming into youth group?
Just keep your mouth shut. I still talk a lot, but I used to talk way more and trying my hardest, I don't know, for attention, I guess. And it's not the way to be friends with people and to impress people. Like, you can obviously talk and joke and stuff, but like, don't talk as much. You'll be fine. Realize when you do talk a lot, no one's gonna remember what you said. So if you embarrass yourself once, no one's gonna remember it. 'Cause we've all been there and done that and said stupid things.
You have you have younger siblings that are obviously already in youth group, but let's say you have a younger brother or sister that's coming up and they're scared to make that transition. What do you say?
I think a big one that I don't see a lot of the middle schoolers doing is respecting their elders. I think respecting those high schoolers above you and appreciating them for the path that they've paved for you should be more emphasized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing, I think, Lenore, this is true for you. Both of you had Reed your entire youth group career.
We were Reed's first like full group.
Yeah. And I think you came along right as he came in.
Yep.
And as someone that had 3 different youth pastors, and average youth pastor is only in a church for 6 months to 2 years. So talk a little bit about Reed as a youth pastor, because you're unbelievably fortunate just to have someone your entire time, and I can see the effect that it has.
I look at other youth pastors on mission trips like Puerto Rico and Kentucky, and I am very thankful for Reed. Like everyone else seems so overbearing and bossy and just rude, or like doesn't connect with the kids, like just kind of like another senior pastor to them, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I'm so appreciative of Reed that he builds relationships with us and he talks with us and jokes with us, and on mission trips he'll let us all share about our days and let us talk.
I was Reed's first middle schooler. So Reed started in the fall of 2016, and that was my 6th grade year. So I'll be Reed's first kid. Me, Sam Scarlett, Josh Hagler, and I think that's it. We'll be Reed's first kids that go all the way through, assuming he stays till the end of this year. Totally agree with what Lenore said. When we see other youth pastors on these trips that we go on, it feels like Reed is on another level compared to them. We have such a good relationship with him as juniors and seniors.
I can see that.
Yeah, we have such a great relationship with him, and I know that he's worked so hard to get that for us, and it really is a huge blessing.
Yeah.
I think we would all say that we can go to him for anything. Any need we have, we can go to him.
That's awesome. So if you are, let's say, a person coming to the youth group, how do you talk to Reed right off the bat?
He likes space, so talk to him about space.
Oh, I thought you meant like he just likes his space.
He likes
okay.
like the galaxies, like stars.
Okay.
Astronauts.
Yeah.
He's
Interstellar.
He's a movie snob,
Yeah.
so
Space nerd, movie snob.
ask him to go see a good
He
a
likes
good movie with
Starbucks
him.
too.
Okay.
He also likes the Bible, so you could ask him Bible questions.
Well, that's comforting. That is very comforting. Thank you for that. So what would be your advice for their first trip? Because obviously you have World Changers and you have Puerto Rico, but you also have like just retreats and hang out. What would be your advice for your first retreat as a youth member?
Shower, pack deodorant, and
Don't
more
throw screws
socks.
at people.
Definitely.
More socks than you need.
You say more socks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Twice as many pairs of socks than you think you need.
Underwear and socks.
I'd say live it up. Those trips are gonna be my greatest memories from youth group. The only thing that I wish I had done differently in my middle school years was to go even harder than I did. I mean, it was they're always such an awesome time, and you get so much closer with the people from your church, and it's a great way to build relationships with those people in your church that you might not normally talk to, and to emphasize those.
Yeah, like saying a great way to get to know other people that you don't normally talk to, and like learn about the Bible and about Jesus and to grow in your faith. Like those are the times when you have small groups, when you can talk to leaders, and you have worship sessions and like lessons, and just the best times all around.
What did you take out of the World Changers trip this year? It feels like sometimes retreats are a good way to get away. And World Changers is almost kind of like a wrecking ball. Like it comes in and it kind of, for a week, you're in like another dimension somewhere. So with my times in those trips, like there was something that came out of it. Do you feel like there was anything that you came out that you were like, oh, I learned this during that week?
I was reminded in Puerto Rico, once again, how cool it is that we have like our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico that we're serving with. When we're in Puerto Rico, we have 4 translators, and they're all from the youth group of the church we partner with, and they fit right into our church group just as like if they were our best friends that we've grown up with and everything. And so it's always so fun to hang out with them, and a good reminder that they're still continuing on the mission down there. And I've kept up with them on Instagram, and they're still doing almost like mission trips like down there, like they're painting their local church this week, and it's a cool reminder that they're serving while we're back here like serving in our own ways, and that we're not alone in it all.
Yeah. And the reason I picked you to come on and talk about it is, to me, you guys are the older, mature faces of the youth group. A lot is said about your generation, and a lot is said about...
I never thought you'd be saying that.
Really?
I in middle school, I never thought you'd be saying that.
I didn't think I'd be saying that either, but here we are. I don't know if you feel it, but it definitely feels like, I felt it when I was younger, the weight of you're a young person, and people say things about, teenagers and all those different things. A lot is said about your generation. And I remember as I got older, people talk about being millennial, and there was a whole lot that came with that. So for you guys, and yeah, I know, she's giving me the loser sign, being even younger than that, for your time in youth, what do you think holds the youth back from being like spiritually focused? What keeps people from really caring about their faith at your age?
100% for me, what people thought of me. It was so important for me to be the funniest in the room, the coolest in the room. It was only when I put those things aside and really realized, why am I here? Not to sound cliche, but that was when all the puzzle pieces clicked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just felt differently about when I went to church.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to church. It was the place that made me the happiest.
Yeah.
And the only thing that made me happier than going to church was serving in church. And so for those people that are in the youth group that are 6th grade, just serve in your church. That's the best thing that you can do. It seems counterintuitive that that's what would bring us the most joy, because you would think that what's going to bring me the most joy but serving myself. But it could not be further from the truth.
And it connects you with other people and makes you like talk to other people that you wouldn't normally talk to.
And the youth group deserves a huge amount of credit for coming back from mission trips and immediately going into VBS. You guys were the overwhelming majority of helpers. I mean, obviously because a lot of people work, I felt like youth was half the helpers. And that's a testament to you guys understanding that
it's really, really cool to see.
You were Dr. Dorkenstein or whatever you were.
Professor Sparks. Yeah, so over the summer we have a couple of events that we invite the up-and-coming 6th graders to. So the kids that were 5th grade last year, those up-and-coming 6th graders, and all those up-and-coming 6th graders were in my VBS class.
Yeah.
So they were the ones that saw me as Professor Sparks. So then they come to these youth events and they say, "Oh, Professor Sparks," and I'm it's bittersweet. It makes me feel so good that that's how they remember me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh man.
That's your alter ego now.
Yeah. Old, probably.
Yeah. It does. It makes me feel old.
Yeah. Get used to that.
Your question about like what's hindering them spiritually. I think apathy is another thing. I think a lot of people just sit in the lessons in Sunday school and just zone out. But like if you pay attention, you'll learn, and it doesn't come overnight. But I think paying attention is a big part of it. If you struggle with that, you can like find different ways to help you pay attention. Like I take notes and I doodle all the time.
Yes,
in my
she
notes
does. A lot of her doodles are really good
to help me pay attention. Because I won't stay focused if I don't.
Which is funny because you're named after Edgar Allan Poe, right?
Right.
And
of.
so
It's a family name first.
Artist, doodle, drawing kind of works
Poetry,
together.
it all goes together.
I guess for me and for older people that are, that want to pour into youth, what's the best way to do it, do you think?
Bring cookies.
Bring cookies.
Yes.
Okay. I can do that. What else?
Yes.
Like, what's the best way to reach them with what you're saying? Like apathy and caring about what people think. Like, how do you actually reach and connect with youth
I think
group
you
people?
have to build the relationship first. So, like, truly be interested in what they're interested in. And truly ask them questions about their week and life and take time to talk to them individually.
My advice would be set up a Bible reading program with them. That's the easiest thing to do.
You guys have one, correct?
Yeah, so the seniors and me have a Thursday morning Bible group that we have once a week. We meet at McDonald's.
Okay.
We've read through Romans, and we're about to finish 1 Corinthians. But form those relationships with the younger ones. My advice would be to become an accountability partner for them.
Yeah.
They think, whether they say it or not, that we are the coolest people on the face of the earth. To mentor them in a super small way by saying, hey, go read your Bible, sending them a text and say, let's do this reading plan together. And for 2 weeks straight, just say, hey, let's read our Bible every single day together. That's gonna promote a super, super awesome relationship with those younger.
I've had 9th graders tell me, oh, I wish I could read my Bible more, and I wish I could, want to read my Bible more. And so, making it easy for them to have an outlet to read the Bible. Making it easy for them to read the Bible with you.
Is there any overwhelming questions that you hear about faith and God and all those things that they ask? Like, does there seem like there's a consistent question that they may have about those kind of things?
When I was in 6th grade, I'm not going to ask the older high schoolers questions about my faith because they're all too cool. I want to be cool in front of them, so I'm not going to ask questions.
What was the questions that you had?
I had about trials and stuff. Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to deal with this? The whys.
For me, where to get my happiness from. Because as a 6th grader, you're looking at YouTube, you're looking at your friends, and you're looking at all these other outlets.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, my happiness was coming from youth group. And so I was like, maybe I should inspect youth group more and put it under the microscope and see where I'm actually getting my happiness from.
Yeah.
And it was coming from not only the relationships I was having with my friends, but the lessons that I was hearing preached on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then that transferred into the happiness that I gained from being present on Sunday mornings. And then that transitioned into serving, and it kind of snowballs in a really awesome way.
Yeah. So for anyone in the youth group that would be kind of on the fence about going on a Puerto Rico or World Changers, what's the convincing argument? What would you tell them?
So fun. Despite the heat, despite the crowdedness of everything, it's so fun to spend a week with your friends, and it's so fun to work together with your friends and to travel together with your friends and hang out and laugh and joke, and it's such a good time despite everything, despite that you're working outside and stuff.
I'd agree. Nobody has fun waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's true.
And going to work in 95-degree
That would be
weather.
some advice.
When it's humid.
Yeah.
Don't complain. Everybody is feeling the same thing on these trips. Don't be the one complaining.
Nobody wants to wake up at 5 and go to bed at 11. The best advice I would give is just do it.
Yeah.
Because nobody.
What does it do for you spiritually as well? What do you think those mission trips do on a spiritual level for you guys?
Pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's not your normal routine or place or whatever. It forces you to adapt and to learn and grow spiritually and physically and mentally and in different areas, even socially.
Back to what Lenore said about it's really dope to see the churches that we surround ourselves with in the SBC also playing a part in what we're doing down there. We see all over the place these small Baptist churches with 30, 40 members, but that they're playing such a huge role in the island of Puerto Rico, and that we can be a part of that too, by not only sending our money, but sending our students there.
And when we're there, we meet other churches and other people from other churches and make lifelong friends with those other church or youth group members.
Awesome. So my last question for you guys is the same last question I've had for everybody who's come on. And it is, if you got to see one biblical event live, without the consequences of said events, you're not drowning in the flood, you're not getting killed in battle, whatever it may be, what would you want to see live if you could see one biblical event live?
That's a hard question. I kind of want to say the events of Revelation.
Okay, so you can't say Revelation.
You're
I
no
feel like
fun.
it's a little bit cheating.
It's got to be something that's
You guys
already
are no
happened.
fun.
Plus, someone already said that.
Oh, okay.
You also can't say Jesus resurrecting. We all want to see that.
You're
okay?
no fun, Matt.
That's a universal
Ruining
one.
the fun.
It's more fun if I take that away from you.
The destruction of Jericho would be pretty cool.
That would
They walk around the city 7 times and yell. And
that's one I'm surprised hasn't been said. But that's a
down.
very good one.
I don't know. I feel like the events in Sodom and Gomorrah would be really, really interesting.
Raining fire from the sky. Right. Yeah, that would be.
And then you get the salt pillar.
The salt pillars, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does a person that looks like a pillar of salt actually look like?
How wouldn't it just fall down? Like,
yeah.
How would it stay a pillar?
Yeah.
Fire.
So we have destruction and fire as the themes from our youth. That
makes sense, honestly.
No, those are very, very good. Jericho, I've been waiting for someone to say Jericho.
I got you, Matt.
Yeah, very good. Well, guys, thank you so much for talking World Changers, talking youth group. Lenore, I know you're done with youth group, but life is not over. Yeah. You get involved in college, and you've got a lot of life. I mean, you both have a lot of life. Hunter's not dying or anything. He still has another year of youth, and like you're saying, enjoy your last year in youth. You guys have the best is yet to come for you too. There's so much, and I can testify that I thought at different points after high school and college that life would go downhill, but I promise you. The best is still yet to come. You guys have so much green grass ahead of you. So stay involved and do your parents and us proud. So
thank you for having us. Yeah. I've really enjoyed it.
And maybe we'll be talking to you again next year, Hunter. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ruin any more smiles in the meantime.
Oh gosh. Yeah, for sure.
Take care, guys.
We want to give a special thank you to our Minister of Students, Reed Hernandez, for his hard work and dedication to the youth of our church. The summer has also brought an end to our series in Lamentations. If you missed any of the sermons on Good Grief, you can find them on the podcast channel, our YouTube page, or at forestbaptistchurch.org. And start reading and looking ahead for our new study in 1 Samuel this fall. We will see you Sunday. God bless.